I'm Elizabeth Haggblade. Thank you, Osnantuck Community College, for publishing my post-World War II story and for inviting me to read it to you today. A Christmas in Tivoli. A week before Christmas, Fatih, my foster father, brought into the kitchen a 4-foot-tall spruce he had just cut from somewhere and stood it up on a stand he had made by nailing 2 wooden slats together crosswise, cutting out a round opening in the middle to wedge in the tree. It smelled fresh of forest, with melted frost droplets still glistening on its branches. He placed it in the corner next to the buffet in the kitchen and began decorating it with fresh apples, oranges, and walnuts. Fatih took thin copper wire he had cut into 5-inch lengths and pushed one through the center of each fruit, bending the protruding end so that the fruit held. He shaped the upper extension into a hook to hang the apples and oranges onto the tree branches. He tried the same method with the walnuts with somewhat less success because of their hard shells. Aunt Meta, my foster aunt, and I helped by wiring 4-inch tall white candles to the ends of the branches. We didn't have little candle holders that came with clip-on snaps for that purpose. Fruit and candles were all we had for decorations. I thought our tree rather festive once the candles were burning, warming the resiny, fruity air. With his sonorous bass voice, Fatih, the old World War I and World War II warrior, slowly intoned, "Es ist ein Ros entsprungen, lo, how a rose blooming," a melody that still resonates deeply with me today. He also played the harmonica quite well. Adi, my foster brother, chimed in with more songs of the season. They knew by heart all the verses of the old songs, while I could only hum along after the first one. The blending of the voices rendered our little hut almost reverential, conjuring in my mind thoughts of Christmas angels, like those depicted on Advent chocolates and candy wrappers. We munched on some cookies or a piece of Gugelhopf, a type of pound cake, quite tasty when Aunt Meta baked it. Maybe we even had a cup of real coffee. The men drank beer and stronger stuff I don't recall. The treats must have reminded Fatih of his youth in Thuringia, the former East Germany. In telling his stories, his voice became more and more gravelly with drinking as he segued into his war experiences. He told of the time he was riding his bike along a country road in the East in 1944, when he was approached by a Polish man who stopped him, motioning to turn over the bike to him with the few German words, "Das ist mein, jetzt kannst du laufen." The bike is mine, now it's your turn to walk. Fatih thought it best to do as told, because he was on Polish territory, land that had been traded back and forth between Germany and Russia. Adi then followed with his story of being in the German infantry in 1943 at age 17. It was Christmas Eve. The soldiers decided to fry a stack of pancakes for supper when the guard came running in, warning of an approaching enemy patrol. They hurried out of the tents and hid in the surrounding forest. When it was quiet again, they returned. The pancakes had gone missing. The Brits had absconded with them. In exchange, they had left a box of cigarettes with a thank you note and a Merry Christmas wish. With thoughts of war on their minds, Fatih and Adi shifted then to singing wartime pop songs like Lili Marleen. The air in our hut had thickened with wafts of cigarette smoke and fumes of alcohol. The men's pitch rose. Arms started to gesticulate. There was nothing stopping Fatih now, as he worked up a sweat, ranting and raving about the war, about what would have been, could have been, should have been. The tone in our kitchen started to get serious. Adi tried to steady Fatih as he lurched toward him, wielding a large kitchen knife. When Adi caused him to drop it, Fatih, in his rage, lunged for the few dishes we had, smashing every plate, bowl, and glass within reach into smithereens. Aunt Meta and I were crouching in a corner by the stove, trying to avoid the shards raining off the wall. Fatih's thunderous stream of consciousness began to dissolve into grunts. He was done. He lumbered, head bent, shoulders sagging toward his bed, a broken man, acknowledging his entire family destroyed by war and self-destructed by disappointment, anger, and alcohol. The burning candle wicks on the Christmas tree began to spat, sizzle, and crackle as they neared the end of their life. Warm, melting wax dripping from the branches. It was time to extinguish what was left of them. The fruity tree decorations, too, were on the wane, the apples dropping in pieces, the oranges into mush on the floor. Even the hardy walnuts were showing the first dark brown spots of decay. Another Christmas, with thoughts of Christmases past ghosting about. Thank you for listening.